Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. And we got some more Stellar Blade news and another video about the controversy surrounding it. So let's just cue up the music and we'll get right into it. Alright, we're back at That Park Place once again. I highly recommend checking out this website. I will put a link to the article. In fact, there's going to be two articles we're going to talk about today in the description below. And I'm also going to put a link to a petition that I highly recommend that you share. So, the title reads, After Stellar Blade censors various outfits and gore, Mark Kern lays out 8-step plan to restore the original game. Now, Mark Kern, as you know, is Grums on Twitter. So let's take a look at his 8-step plan. I'm not going to read this in its entirety because it's a lot. And I've got two articles I want to cover. I don't want to make this a 20, 30-minute video just reading things out. But we're going to look at some of the changes in the censorship and all that. So here we've got the unpatched disc version of, what is this, the bunny suit, I think it is. Yeah, the holiday bunny, right? You can see the heavy cleavage there. It's a little loose up top there, high on the sides there, on the hips and all that. When they patch it, they added this little bit of cloth right there and a little bit right there. And this is the new Game Plus variant. So, you know, I mean, these, in my opinion, are minor things, but they're important to fight for because there's something called a slippery slope. And if you haven't heard of the slippery slope, you can see examples of it throughout history. Anytime you give a little bit of ground to somebody, some organization, some people, anything, they will push for more, right? Like if you're a parent and you have a child, and a child says, I want to stay up another 10 minutes to finish watching videos or play a game or something like that, and you give in, the next night he's going to ask for 20 minutes or 10 minutes a second time or a half hour or whatever, and it's just going to keep pushing and pushing, and you create this situation where you just keep giving ground little by little by little, and then all of a sudden you don't know where you stand anymore, you know. And that's the way it is with this quote-unquote culture war that we're in right now. Anytime you give a little bit to these woke weirdo dirtbags, the scum of the earth, they want to take more, and you can't give it to them. You got to hold your line and tell them F you. So I appreciate what Grums is doing here. Let's take a look at some other stuff we're talking about. Now, not only was the sexiness modified, but also the gore. As you can see here in the left-hand picture, Eve has a lot of blood on her legs and all that, fighting this creature in the boss battle. And this is like, I think, the killing blow at the end of this boss battle, if memory serves me correctly. Here, there's significantly less. Okay, just, you know, these are minor things you probably wouldn't even notice if somebody didn't bring it up to you, right? If you weren't looking for it. I get it. Kind of like the hard R thing. If you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see it. But when you see it, you see it. And it's kind of annoying. You know, it's just kind of annoying. Especially when you consider things like this right here. When you're making a character in Cyberpunk, you can pick what kind of cock he has. You can pick the size of the boobs on the woman. You can give a woman a man's voice and, you know, and identify as whatever. And don't even get me started on Baldur's Gate, the horrifying combinations of male and female parts, and then all these different races of creatures from halflings to dragon people is just absolutely, you can make abominations on there, right? But nobody cared about that. Nobody said anything about that because, you know, you could make your little trans characters and all that. You could have your guy with a feminine voice, you know, and or your female with a penis and all this other stuff. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Nobody cared about it. And then you go to this blood and gore, and you look, so many games have a lot of blood and gore. I mean, I'm playing through Dead Island 2 right now, through the latest DLC, and it's gory as hell. You got a woman that uses her intestines as a whip in it, right? Nobody's crying about it. You know, it's part of the game. It's Dead Island. It's fun, and it's crazy and all that. It's part of the game. Nobody cares. So why did we censor this? Stellar Blade is obviously not a game meant for children, right? This is a game meant for a little bit older gamer. It requires some skill. It requires a skill set that a lot of kids don't have. Little kids, because, you know, they don't quite have that those motor skills down pat yet. This is for, you know, it's a little too tough for a guy my age in 54, but hey, it is what it is. All right, well, let's move on. So that's some of the issues there. So now, Stellar Blade director Young Tae Kim allegedly acknowledged the censorship, stating at the launch event, "We are aware of the issue. The version we ended up showing was a day one patch version. It's not an answer that will satisfy users anyway. Internal discussions are ongoing." So, you know, there's a lot going on here. And I will share this article so you can go ahead and read through it for yourself. You can watch the comments of yourself, all that kind of stuff. But here's Grum's plan. And step one is to reach out to the director. And he's got some recommendations on that. It shows you who it is. Step two is you can, he follows him, right? So the goal is change. Let's see what it is. The goal is change, and it's a different culture. Set the tone. Be polite, be brief, be clear. You know, show the support for changing it back. No black pill replies. Everybody fights, nobody quits. So, you know, be cool about it. Don't go off all unhinged on it and all that. Step three, he's search banned. So, you know, if you want to put him in there and tag him, you have to type out his full name, the @Grums with 2 M's. Step four, contact the Shift Up offices. He says to actually send physical mail because the Asian cultures appreciate that a lot more than a email. They consider it more polite, you know, or whatever. He's also recommending Korean fans and expats to go visit their office politely and physically drop off a letter, which is kind of neat. The thought of that, you know. Step 5, Sony North American PlayStation. The NA offices are very sensitive social media. So yeah, you want to post, tag him, and get Free Stellar Blade trending. That's definitely something you want out there. Here we go. We mentioned some of the double standards in here. We'll go to this Twitter thing real quick and show that off. But yeah, he talks about Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, and yeah, post comparison images with those and other games that Sony also rates mature. It's, you know, it's a game. It's a mature game. Let it be mature. Why neuter it, you know? I mean, you've got full frontal male and female nudity in both of those games upon character creation. You've got sex scenes in Baldur's Gate, and you've got them in Cyberpunk, and both of them are, the Baldur's Gate ones tend to be a little bit more graphic than the Cyberpunk ones, but they exist, right? Now you have options to keep underwear on in those things and to, you know, to avoid them if you want, but, you know, if you wanted that in this game, put it in this game, right? It's like I say, you know, you don't need to force the woke people want to force you into a box. They want to force you to experience things in a way that they expect that you should experience them, right? They say, you know what? No, you can't see that nice bathing suit. You need to see a less restrictive bathing suit, you know, one that, or a more restrictive bathing suit, or yes, you need to play that game where homosexuality is all over the place and all that. It's not an option, it's in their game. If you don't like it, go play a different game. You know, it's all about power with them and forcing you to do things and experiencing things the way they want you to. And that really is what it boils down to, right? A lot of this stuff is not the end of the world in its own bubble, right? If you look at it as one single event, it's like, that's no big deal. You know, they adjusted her bathing suit a little bit, But then when you start looking at the trend of it and how it continues to happen, I think they did it with Tifa in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then I think they went back to remake and change something on there too as well, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't look into that one as deeply, but this has been boiling beneath the surface for a while, and now it's at the top, and I can't keep quiet about it. I got to keep talking about it, because the more this is exposed, the more backlash these people get, and you know, maybe it'll make a change. Maybe it'll make a difference. Let's move on. Step 6. Boycott. We'll boycott the right target. We're also going to support Stellar Blade. Send the real target Sony a message. Cancel your PlayStation Plus subscription. Give the reason it's free Stellar Blade, and get them to allow Shift Up to change it back. That would send a powerful message. Definitely a powerful message. Step 7. The petition I made to free Stellar Blade is up. That link will be in the description. I've already signed up for it. Sign it, spread it, and get it trending. I have put it out on my Twitter as well. Electronic petitions carry less weight in Asia than physical. We will print the petition in Korea and have it delivered to Shift Up offices and Sony offices. So that's cool. So there you go. Step 8. Contact YouTubers. Send them this thread. Get the word out and get them to make content about it. Get loud and free Stellar Blade. And that's exactly what we're doing, is we're freeing Stellar Blade right now. And that's that's the gist of it. That's step 8. So Kern says this tactic will work because he used it previously to get Blizzard to bring the World of Warcraft Classic back, and he says the doubters are wrong. So be kind of neat to see what happens. Nostalria's petition passes 200k signatures. Mark Kern to deliver it. That's the World of Warcraft one. So there's a lot going on with this. A lot going on, and if we don't fight this on every front, every time it happens, then you're going to continue to lose ground, and gaming companies are going to continue to bow down to this vocal minority of weirdos, these scumbags, these dirtbag journalists and weird activists and all that. They're going to continue to bow down to it, and games are going to suffer. Look at the crap that's been released over the last few years that's been involved with companies like Black Gamer Girls and Sweet Baby Inc. and all that other crap. It's absolute garbage coming out. Or they take good games, decent IPs and all that, and just ruin them. It's absolutely horrible. So, surprise, surprise, we have a GameSpot editor that has responded to Mark Kern's 8-step program here. GameSpot editor Jessica Cogswell describes petition and plan to uncensor Stellar Blade as the most unhinged behavior I've seen in quite some time. I recommend going to visit her on X. She is talking about it here. Drop your opinion on here. Don't harass or anything like that. As deserving as she may seem to be, it's just not worth it. But do give your thoughts. Let her know. Although it says accounts that she follows or mention can reply, which is interesting because it looks like I can reply, and I know she doesn't follow me. But yeah, so she's crapping on Mark right there, and he's like, "This LOL, supporting women sex workers and OnlyFans as sexual women is funny because you can definitely tell when the orgasms are fake, but you absolutely respect the hustle. I'm horny with respect. Monetize the male gaze, boo. Get that bread and look good doing it." So this is where these unhinged lunatics, they have no standards, right? They have no moral compass. It's like, okay, sex workers are great, and what are they doing? They are exploiting men for money, right? But the reason that that's okay is because it's the women exploiting men for money. And depending on the level of the sex worker, right? Nowadays it's really changed. It's no longer just a bunch of hoes on the street with a pimp, and they're giving him the money and all that kind of stuff. It's gone way beyond that with OnlyFans and all this crap online, and that pipeline of Twitch to OnlyFans or Instagram to OnlyFans and all that. It's sad. It's really sad. And a lot of women are destroying their futures by doing that. And to support women, women aren't to be objectified. Women aren't, we're more than that. They, the whole feminism thing and all that. And then they're supporting that kind of behavior. None of it makes sense. None of it has a moral compass. It's absolutely ridiculous. But we're getting off topic here. Let's go back to her response. But yeah, go check her out on Twitter and say hi. It'd be kind of fun. So yeah, she describes the petition and plan as the most unhinged behavior I've ever seen. Here we go back to some of that blood and all that we saw in the other one. Here's his petition he's talking about there. And yeah, she has a 2-year-old, which I'm surprised she has a 2-year-old. I didn't think... Anyway, yeah, I didn't think she'd find a guy who would put up with her crap. But here's some more tweets about her. Man, I don't know how all these incel gamer dudes are expecting games to have hot characters and characters representative of them at the same time. I laughed my ass off at these replies. Get a life, weirdos. When did we ever say we wanted representation? Every other effing time your collective tweets, it's about how woke characters and women are in every role, and you miss cis-het white men being allowed in things. So first off, cisgender's a slur, so I don't know why she's allowed to use that word on there. I don't appreciate being called that. It's not a real term. It's a made-up term by these lunatics, and it's not a matter of woke characters and women are in every role. So she's taking this so far out of context. Nobody cares about a good female character in a role. They say this all the time in movies. They say this all the time in video games and all that. Nobody cared that Ripley was the one that survived Alien and was the ass kicker in there. Nobody cared Laurie Strode survived Halloween and was the final girl there. That became a trope, back in the day, that the woman survived and moved on. Whereas all the guys would die. Nobody cared. They were good, strong characters. Sarah Connor in the original Terminator, Terminator 2, fantastic character. Nobody cared. She wasn't a Mary Sue and all that. You compare these characters to the modern day ones like Rey in the recent Star Wars stuff, or any character in Star Wars. It seems like every character in Star Wars now is just female. It's like the a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, everybody was a lesbian. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah. So that's the way it's going with that kind of stuff. So what she's saying there is ridiculous. It's absolutely not the way it is. What we are tired of is that forced diversity, that forced stuff. Even looking at something like the recent Fallout show, I watched it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's great. I enjoyed the first season. There are some issues of wokeism in there, and you can see it. Two of the main characters, one is a female, of course, and the other is a black male. So these are tropes that it just seems to be overused. Now you got Walter Goggins, he's the white guy, but now he's the what do you call it there? The ghoul, And it's just overused. It's overused. And becomes to a point where it just feels like, here we go again, I normally don't care about these things. When I played God of War, Ragnarok, and we had Anger Boda, played by a black girl, I found it to be a little off-putting and odd. I was like, well, that's kind of weird, being that this is, Viking legends and all that. They didn't have black people in their pantheon, and certainly not the frost giants weren't black. Frost giants are, from the ice and snow. You would expect them to be the palest human-looking creatures in the world, and if not blue, as they're often represented, But the acting was so good, and the girl did such a fantastic job that I really can't, complain about that at all. But like I said, it's just a slightly off-putting, and that's what we're talking about. If you wanted to give her the job, you could have given her the job. You could have scanned her and all that, but you could have made her blue and made her look like the legendary ice giant. So you could have made her look Norwegian or something like that. Kratos, it's not a white guy playing him, and he does a fantastic job, and there's no problem with it. You don't have to be the color of your character. And it's kind of funny because only when it suits these guys does the character look like the person that scans it, right? So you look at the new Star Wars coming up, that Star Wars Rebel Outlaws or whatever it's called. I don't even care anymore. Outlaws, I think. And they took this beautiful young lady, this beautiful actress, they scanned her and they made her look like a dumpy dyke. And sorry if that's a bad word, but that's what they made her look like. She looks absolutely awful. She's like, she looks like a guy trying to be a girl or a girl trying to be a guy. It's hard to determine, but the character's just terrible. And Ubisoft is already in the crapper with me, so something like that just puts me completely off the game. I don't know if I'll ever buy Ubisoft again, even if they change their ways down the line. I don't know. They'd really have to make a change and stick with it for some time before I consider spending another dime on them. But let's get back to Jessica. So, I've used it. So here we go. She's replying. The term was created to differentiate JRPGs from Western ones. So you're literally saying that it was a term created to otherize a group? Interesting that you somehow think that's not literally a racist thing. I've used the term JRPG. So, yeah, RPG, role-playing game. JRPG is a Japanese role-playing game. And Japanese role-playing games, if you're not familiar with, especially in video games, have a certain feel and a certain vibe to them, where the characters have a certain look. They've got the larger eyes. There's that anime influence in all their graphics and all that. It looks fantastic, and it's their own thing, And either, you can like RPGs and not like JRPGs, or you can love JRPGs and not like regular RPGs. Whatever, man. It's up to you. I tend to sometimes... I like some JRPGs. I love Final Fantasy stuff and all that, but sometimes I'm not into them because they just tend to go a little too far with certain things. And I'm not, crapping on the culture or anything like that. It's just not my taste all the time. I tend to enjoy Western RPGs a little bit more because I can relate to characters a little bit more, and they have less of a stylized look to them, which I appreciate. But, that's just me. All right, so I've used the term JRPG for years, and honestly, Hana, it's completely right, and I'm going to stop. It is a category that doesn't need to exist. Games should be separated by content, not the race of the people creating them. I think this is one of those things we need to do away with. This was back in March 2023. Even if you don't mean it in a negative way, I think about how it comes across for a few minutes, and I think you'll realize it feels a bit ick. Sure, we can talk about the differences between Western and Eastern RPGs, but Western should not be the default term RPG. Also, I think if you're white, please consider thinking before tweeting, actually, I don't know that it's racist because, then promptly delete that tweet and listen to the opinions of the people you're putting in the box. Shut up, Jessica. For real. Referring to something in an honest way because it comes from something, a certain culture, a certain people, or whatever, does not make it racist. And that is this is the issue we have with these millennials, is that they think everything is racist, right? And it's absolutely stupid. You can say JRPG because it defines, because 99% of those RPGs are coming from Japan. Yeah, China might be producing some stuff, Korea and all that, more and more these days, maybe calling it an ARPG eventually, an Asian RPG, whatever, it doesn't matter. Eventually, people are going to find something wrong with it, like they always do. Hey, quick reminder to white people, as a white person, we definitely don't need to weigh in and give our takes on something that is pretty definitely not in our lane. Let's listen to what our black peers are saying and respect our ideas and opinions on the subject, please. I get tired of these white women. Maybe women shouldn't be in gaming at all. Maybe we should get them out of there, especially white women. I think they're just too sensitive for it, and they don't have the spine to handle working in that industry. Let the men take back over. Let's right the ship. Just put out some good games. If men have a problem with something, they'll discuss it with the other men, and they'll resolve it and fix it. They're not going to be petty and go on. Well, the real men won't be petty going on social media and fussing about, let's not talk about this and let's not talk about that because of the color of our skin. If the black guy has a problem with what the white guy's doing, he'll be, hey, what's going on, bud? I don't like this, and da-da-da. Oh, let's talk about it, hash it out, move on, fix it. All right, well, here's some more great stuff from Jessica here. Jason Trier says, it's pretty wild that in 2021 a new game studio will still look like this. And wow, look at that, it's a bunch of white dudes. Whatever, man. I don't know, I pretty much expected the team behind Journey to the effing Savage Planet to look like a white boy frat house. Why do you care, guys? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And she goes on and on. I'll put a link to this one in there. I can't read any more of this without wanting to vomit, But the one comment that this article has is Jessica Coswell's a fascist pig. Tony, you are a hero. So, yeah, check out this article down below and see what's going on. And we'll take a look at the petition real quick. Who else can you get signing? Let's skip for now. Let's go back to... Oh, you know what? I kind of want to make a video. All right, well, I'll do that later. But in any case, I will put the link to the actual free Stellar Blade in the description, so you can go here as well, sign up and all that. It's got 15,000 supporters. I think the goal was 25,000 or something, so we're, well on our way there. Should be, hopefully within another week or so, be there, maybe even quicker. I don't know. But spread the word out there. Free Stellar Blade. If you found this video useful or enjoyable at all, please leave a like on it down below. Let me know your opinion on this whole nonsense matter. It's absolutely insane and crazy, but yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.